thank you for watching today's video. I'm going to be covering this look right here, which is kind of a soft glam. So very daytime wearable, but totally appropriate for date night as well, and nothing too complicated. So neutral tones on the eyes, some fluttery soft lashes, and a nude lip. Not a really structured contour. This is something you could probably do even in the morning, like heading to work, if you were just feeling a little extra fabulous that day. So I'm also going to include at the end of the video kind of a mini product review of 3 products that I use in this look, which are from the new Tarte Rainforest of the Sea collection, which is really exciting. It's a 360 line and it's gorgeous, and I just kind of picked my 3 favorite products that I've used so far, and I wanted to give them a little bit of love at the end, especially because they weren't in my most recent product haul video. So if you're interested in that, the ones I'm going to cover are the water foundation, the Marine Boosting Mist, which is for, it's like a primer and a makeup setting spray, and then the Skin Twinkle highlighting palette. So I will cover all of these at the end of the video. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and give thumbs up and comment and let me know what else you guys would like to see. And yeah, really excited to be back to filming. I was on vacation for a week in Vegas and had a lot going on at work. So I feel like I haven't filmed a video in a while. So this is exciting. Thank you again, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. So to get started, I'm going to first prime my lips. I do this before every single makeup look. I just don't always record it in my tutorials, but it's the Clinique All About Lips to smooth it all out, and then just a little bit of lip balm to let that sit on there while I do the rest of my face. Next, to prime the whole face, I'm using CoverFX Illuminating Primer. This is my go-to everyday primer, and it's also great for traveling because that tube won't break when you're getting your luggage thrown around. So it's kind of one of my favorites for a few reasons. And then to color correct. So these are the new Urban Decay Naked color correctors. They're a very similar formulation to the concealers that I love. And I'm going to do a color correcting video soon that reviews a whole bunch of the new products that have flooded the market lately, since color correction has become the on-topic trend in the makeup world, it seems. So I'll cover stick color correctors, liquid color correctors, and kind of show what I think is best about each one for different skin types and different skin problem areas. So now I'm going in with the green. I will say about this particular, the Urban Decay color correctors, in my experience with them so far, the under eye peach color for dark circles is not super pigmented, so it will be awesome for someone who's fair skinned and doesn't want to put orange under their eyes. But even for me, it doesn't quite give the coverage I'm looking for. Wow, that was scary. The green, however, is super pigmented, so it really covers the redness, and you actually, a little bit really covers a lot, so you don't have to use a ton of the product. I actually think I used a bit too much when I was doing this, and I had to really blend it out to make sure nothing was going to show through to my foundation. But I like the formulation. Like I said, it's similar to the Urban Decay concealers, which we love, in terms of the consistency and how it kind of blends out. So this is overall a great product, but I will make sure to do a color correction video that compares more of the products to each other. So now I'm just using a damp Real Technique sponge to blend this all out even more so than I did with that pointed brush, and I'm going to go in with the foundation. So this is the new Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation with SPF 15. It is a serum foundation, so you use the little eye dropper at the top to kind of put on your hand however much coverage you think you're going to need. And I'm using the It Velvet Collection little LBD brush. I use this foundation brush all the time, and as always, I'll link it below. And just little by little, I'm going to blend this all over the face. What I will say about the foundation so far, I don't find it to be as dewy as some others, so that's going to make it not my instant favorite. But I do like that it's really buildable coverage. And so in the summertime, when you want something that doesn't feel heavy on the skin, especially in hot temperatures, and you want it to not maybe be as full coverage because you have a bit of a tan, you just want your skin to breathe a little bit more, this will be a great option all summer in the warm months. So I'm really looking forward to it for that reason. But on this application, I actually had to go back and add a little bit more foundation to my hand to make it as full coverage as I wanted it. And now I'm using concealer. So today I'm using the new Ultra HD concealer from Makeup Forever. I talked about this in my most recent haul. This is the first video I'm actually using it on camera. I like this concealer, but it definitely does not compare to the Urban Decay Naked Concealers. It is strong coverage, and you only need a little bit, but I find it more difficult to blend than the Urban Decay concealers. And I don't like the packaging and the way you have to apply it to the skin. Like, it's a little squeeze tube, and it just makes the application more messy. I wish it had like a wand or some other means of applying it. But once you get it on, I definitely only use a sponge or a beauty blender when I use this product. I would not blend this out with a brush because of its kind of gel-like consistency. It just takes a little bit more work to get it evenly and flawlessly dispersed across the skin, and the quickest way to do that is with a damp sponge. So once I have this kind of all over the under eye area, and this is a particularly light color on me, which really makes the under eyes look bright, but I was going for that for this look, so it ended up working really well. And now, just to prime my eyelids, I'm going in with the Naked by Urban Decay concealer in the shade Medium, which is the closest to my actual skin tone, and just, again, blending that out with the damp Real Techniques sponge. So to set, and you can see I hit pan on my Marc Jacobs palette, that's always really sad. I'm using the end of my double-ended Tarte brush. This is my favorite one for setting my eye area, and I'm just going to take that, sort of yellow tinted skin shade, and I'm just going to set the whole eye area. Back and forth underneath the eye is important so that it really makes sure you're covering all of the creases that happen under your eyes when you smile or when you blink, and then some of these other areas where I had some of that concealer as a highlight, I'm just going to set it to make sure it doesn't move. Next, for a little bit of bronzing, since we're not doing a real structured contour, I'm using the Tarte Amazonian clay bronzer in matte. So this is the matte one, and I'm using the fat end of that Tarte brush, and I'm just kind of dotting this all over the face along where my contour would be, but it's a little bit broader, space that we're applying the bronzer, because it is bronzer. We're not really doing a contour. And we're going to go up into the temples, to the sides of the forehead. We'll do a little bit along the edge of the hairline just so we have some dimension on the face, but this is not super precise. It's just kind of an all-over warm glow that we want, and underneath the jawline, this is just to have a little bit of definition along the edge of the face. So once you have your bronzer kind of dispersed all along the edges of the face, we're going to do the nose. You could skip this step if you really want it to look more natural and unstructured, but I personally contour my nose every day. So I'm using the Smashbox Contour Stick Trio. As always, this is the most precise way to contour your nose from what I've seen. And this is one of the new Morphe brushes from the monthly Brush Club delivery I got in March, which is a great program. I talked about it in my haul. Check out that video if you're interested in learning more about this brush subscription program. But this was a new brush I got as part of that I probably wouldn't have purchased otherwise, and I love it. It's my new go-to brush for blending out my nose contour. It's just the perfect shape and the perfect density of the bristles to get the job done. And as you can see here, I just gently blend it toward the bridge, creating a nice straight line down both sides and a narrow highlight portion down the center. I also do the tip of the nose a little bit because I have a ball at the tip of my nose and I like to narrow that, but you should really tailor this to the shape of your nose and the desired shape that you're going for. And then just to emphasize that highlight down the center, I do a little thin, very straight strip with the highlight pencil and then blend it out with the same brush so that it looks natural. And I'll also grab the Real Techniques sponge when I'm done and kind of blend this all out, as you'll see. But before that, I want to do that little turned up tip at the end of the nose, so I just draw a tiny line across it, blend it out, and then use the damp sponge to make it look really seamless and make sure there's no harsh edges. So we're going to do a little bit of baking, and I'm using the Cover FX Illuminating Powder in their light translucent color, and then a really structured flat brush from Morphe. And we're just going to put this on the bottom half of the face, mostly for staying power. So I find that when you do this, because we tend to touch the bottom of our face a lot, kind of lean on our hands, things like that, the makeup, this is the look. We're wearing a white beard. This will kind of give that makeup staying power. And for the eyes, I know it kind of went by quickly, but I'm just using some MAC shadows to do a very neutral eye today. So the two shades that I showed, the lighter and the darker shade, the first one was soft brown, which is what I'm applying right now all over the crease as a transition color. And the darker shade we're going to go in with is called Saddle. So the soft brown shade, this is sort of a a pink tone brown. It's light. It looks a little bit different depending on the undertone of your skin. It's kind of transformative in that way. But this is a great staple for everyone to have in their collection. And you kind of just buff all of that out. And then I took the darker saddle shade, a little bit deeper brown, and with a slightly worn down MAC 217 blending brush. I kind of like that it's worn down as it makes the bristles a little more precise because some of them are worn away. Start in the outer corner and just blend this out all the way to the inner corner through the crease in windshield wiper and circular motions to really combine it with the lighter soft brown transition shade. So as you can see, this is not a super dramatic eye. You know, it's not a cut crease. We're not going to do anything too glittery or too over the top. This is very wearable and looks very neutral. This is another MAC shade. This is one of their dimensional eyeshadows. I can't remember the name of the shade at the Heat, something with heat, but I'll list it below. This is kind of a warm gold, not golden, more of a peachy golden sheen, and it's got really great dimensional light reflecting properties. So I put that all over the lid, and then a last MAC shade on the end there, which I believe is called Sable. It's kind of similar to that saddle brown shade, except with a little bit of shimmer, because I realized when we just had shimmer on the lid and all matte elsewhere, it didn't look like it was combined. So I'm just using a little bit of Sable to combine everything in that outer corner. So now we're going to take off our bake. So we're going to use this large powder brush. I'm using one from Sigma, and just kind of buff all of this away. You'll see it gives, you know, the bottom of where we bronze a little bit more structure so you can see your cheekbone, and it will set that part of your foundation so it doesn't rub off during the day. So next, I'm using the Naked Basics palette, but you can use any matte black shadow that's nice and black and pigmented. And a flat definer brush, and going along the outer half to 2/3 of the upper lash line, and very softly and gently, as close to the lashes as possible, I'm just kind of going to buff this in and have it be tapered and narrower when I get toward the inner part of the eye, and a little bit wider and more defined on the outer edge of the eye. This will help create a real openness and gives us a nice base for where we're going to put lashes so that you have no visible gap between your natural lashes and the falsy lash band. So you can see how that line doesn't go all the way to the inner corner, but it's soft edged. It's not like using a hard liner. And now, pop of color on the bottom lid. You could leave this off and just go with the neutral browns and maybe add a little bit of that black in the outer corner of the bottom lash line. But here I chose to use this Jade shaded eye pencil from MAC, and just add this all along the lower lash line, inner corner to outer corner. It's not a super bold liner in the sense of how pigmented it is, so you will get a pop of color, but it looks fairly soft and wearable. And then I'm adding a little touch of black just on the outer corner over top of that teal to bring it all together and draw the outer corner out so your eyes look bigger and really open. So that is kind of where we're going with this. And then this is a new Cover FX, the Perfect Pencil. This is supposed to be a multi-use pencil, so I will report back more on how I tend to use this, but it comes in a whole range of shades, much like you'd find in concealers or foundations, all different ranges of skin tones. So if you went with one really brown, you could use it for brows. If you went with one really light like I did, you can use it for inner rim highlight. And now for lashes, we're using some House of Lashes Siren lashes. These are a clear band. They're wispy. They're longer in the center and then shorter on the inner and outer corners. So this is going to give you that really wide-eyed, kind of soft, romantic look. It doesn't wing out on the outer corner at all, and they're not super dramatic. So you're going to get like a soft, fluttery look and a little more drama than your natural lashes would give you, but this, you know, these lashes are subtle enough that most people probably wouldn't even know you're wearing falsies. So that's what we were going for here. And I'm using the House of Lashes Lash Glue, which is my favorite. I tried the new Eyeshadow Lash Companion, I think it's called, Companion Bond or something like that. I'm not a fan. I'm really disappointed. I wanted to love that product, but so far the House of Lashes Glue is just better. It dries just the right way so that it's super sticky and you can get the lashes on quickly and they stay all day. And I use tweezers and I apply the center of the lash band first to the center of the lid, and I press it in really close to my lashes, and then I do the outer corner, and then I grab the inner corner and push that in as well. And now for a little bit of mascara. top and bottom lashes, I had just used the CoverGirl Lash Blast Volume Mascara in Very Black. It is my favorite. It's all you're ever probably going to see me use. If I ever change, it'll be a day to go down in my personal history because this has been my mascara since like my early college days, and nothing seems to compare to how black and thick it makes your lashes look on their own. So now for brows, just brushing it out and using my Hourglass Arch Brow Definer. So this is in the color Blonde. And I did try my new Smashbox To Go Brow Tech, the one I talked about in my haul. It's shaped very similarly to this pencil, and it has brow gel in the other side of it. It's kind of a 2-in-1 product. I will say, I really like the Smashbox To Go. It's all I used for the week I was in Vegas because I mentioned I wanted to travel with that product because it's kind of 2-in-1. It's very efficient. And I do think it filled in my brows just as beautifully, as that Hourglass pencil. But the pencil's a little bit more dry, and so it would break. And I went through half the product just with it crumbling and breaking off. So even though when I got to use it, I loved it, it doesn't last for very long. And ta-da, my other brow is done, by the way. So that's kind of my take there. The Hourglass pencil still wins in my book. And now I'm just going to clean them up a little bit. I'm using a little bit of the Naked concealer in that medium shade, which is my skin tone, and a tiny little angled brush. Tiny, tiny brush. Very fine bristles. And put a little bit on there and slowly just carve out the bottom of the brow shape I'm going for. This will leave it looking nice and clean. If you have any little baby hairs that are kind of catching any of the eyeshadow, this will mute them right out. Next for blush, this is the Becca blush in the color Warm Honey. Warm Honey? I'll link it below. Really beautiful, warm, peachy shade. I think this goes beautiful when you use a bronzer instead of a contour because it just kind of blends it all together and gives you that daytime flushed glow. It's one of my favorite combos. And next with the new Tarte Skin Twinkle highlighting palette, I'm using the shade, the Rosy Pearl shade, but either shade would have worked with this look. Like I said, like I'm going to share at the end of this video in my mini product review, I find the two shades to be fairly similar, so you kind of can't go wrong, but one is a little more warm gold and the other is a little more cool rosy. So you can kind of pick and choose based on your skin or the shades that you're using in that particular look. And so this is a tapered highlight brush from Sigma. It's my favorite one for this type of application, although I do use fan brushes sometimes. I'd like to try this product with a fan brush and see if it applies any differently. And we're doing down the bridge of the nose, the Cupid's bow, a little bit on the forehead. Anywhere where I highlight earlier with concealer, I tend to also highlight with my highlighter. And then this is a big fat fan brush from Morphe that I just got in the Morphe Brush Club delivery. I'm just using that to soften it all and blend it all together a little bit along the cheeks. So now for the brow bone, I'm using the same shade from that Tarte palette, but just with a little pencil brush going in on the brow bone right along where we did our brows, and a tiny touch on the inner corner. I don't want this to be a bright, bold inner highlight, but just a little something. Finally for lips, my favorite nude, the Urban Decay by Gwen Stefani Ex-Girlfriend liner and lipstick. For some reason, this combo always looks a little bit more like pink mauve-y on camera than it actually looks in person. But it is a great nude with a lot of color and richness to it. The formula of the pencil is beautiful. It's really creamy. It's not dry. A lot of MAC pencils are great in terms of their nude color, but they're super drying on the lips. So it was so nice to find a nude that's similar to the MAC colors, but that's nice and creamy like this. And the lipstick is equally creamy and has a nice sheen, as you can see. And finally, with the Tarte Marine Boosting Mist, this look is complete. Stick around if you want a little product review, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Hi loves, so as promised, I'm going to cover in a little bit more detail the 3 products I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the 3 Tarte products I used in this look. So the first one I want to talk about is the water foundation. So the most important thing I want to call out about this is it has broad spectrum SPF 15 sunscreen in it, and I never buy foundations with sunscreen. In my well, I don't tend to wear sunscreen because it usually has a lot of really horrible chemicals in it. Yeah, like makeup is natural, right? I know all cosmetics have terrible chemicals in them, but I figure I don't need to add to it by coating my skin before my makeup with an SPF that has chemicals, right? So I really went out on a limb to choose to try this foundation, but I just knew coming from Tarte that there was a lot of ingredients in it because they tend to be a little bit more natural. There's a lot of ingredients in this that, there's a lot of ingredients that aren't in this that are in a lot of other products that I appreciate not being in it. Parabens, certain other like glycols and petroleum-based chemicals and stuff. So they don't use certain things that I would prefer not to put on my skin. So anyway, so this is a serum-based foundation. So as you saw in the video, it comes with this little kind of vial, and it's a pump bottle, and so you drop drops, and that's kind of how you get your level of coverage, how much you tend to use. And I'm really interested to see how this photographs with flash photography, because something about putting SPF in a foundation is that it tends to reflect the light back really harshly. So if you're ever like, wow, well, when I left the house, my foundation looked perfectly matched to my skin, and you know, my face looked even with my neck, and then you see a photo and your face is like ghost face white, a lot of times that's because there's SPF in the foundation. So something to keep in mind. I will definitely let everybody know if this does that when I use a flash or like take a selfie with friends or something. You'll probably see it on my Instagram, which, by the way, if anyone wants to follow me on Instagram, I post a lot of looks that I don't necessarily do tutorials on. You can follow me at Crystal, which is CRYSTAL 3412 on Instagram. Okay, so the second product is the Marine Boosting Mist. So according to Tarte, you can use this as a primer, like kind of like Smashbox's like water spray primer. You can use it as a makeup setting spray, which is how I used it in this video. And I love the Urban Decay makeup setting spray. It's what I use for everything all the time. But I have to say, like this, I used this once before I did this tutorial, and my makeup really stayed well all day. So it has a kind of a funny smell. That's true about the foundation too. These products have a funny smell to them. It's got to be some element of the marine, the sea sourced ingredients that they're using in this line might be contributing to it, but it's kind of a funny smell. I actually read that the concealers have a terrible smell, which is part of why I didn't bother to try them. Anyway, so yes, it can be used as a primer, it can be used as a makeup setting spray, it can be used as like a hydrating mist, so throughout the day, especially in the winter, if you're very dry, like keeping this in your purse and kind of just spritzing yourself during the day to refresh your makeup is a good idea. So yeah, this kind of is a multi-purpose, and I'm really excited to try it as a primer the next time I use it and see if I like how it absorbs onto bare skin. The third item is the Skin Twinkle palette. Out of the entire line, this is the product I was most excited to get because I tend to really only use Becca's Skin Perfector highlighters because they're just the best. They're so beautifully formulated. They're really creamy, even though they're pressed powder, pressed pigment, and they're not too sparkly. They have the right amount of sheen to just look like a natural glow. But this looked like it would be something really great to try and compare. And I like that it's a palette, so you get more than one shade in the same pack. The packaging is gorgeous. The gold edging, like this gorgeous like turquoise color. It makes me really excited for summer. So you kind of get two shimmery shades here. This one is called Sunlight. No. This one's Sunlight, which is a champagne-y gold, and this one is Moonlight, which is a rosy pearl. So if you're like fair to medium skin, one of these is gonna work really, really well on you. And then the center one is a matte. So I would say if you're looking for like a brow bone highlight with your look and you don't want it to be really sparkly or shimmery, this center is matte sand, right? Filtered Light is the name of the color, but it's a very matte, like neutral shade. This would be great for a brow bone highlight when you don't want it to be shimmery. I haven't used it to like try setting under the eyes or anything yet, but it does look similar to the shade that I use in the Marc Jacobs palette all the time. So maybe it could be a good substitute. I'm also very excited for this for when I travel. So I love the idea of just being able to throw one small palette in my bag and it has multiple choices in it as opposed to having to bring individual products. So traveling, this could be a great solution. So yeah, that's kind of my take so far. I think that these products are really great. I'll actually just swatch these two highlights for you as well. I'm not sure how they'll show up on camera, but we shall see if the swatches look good. I, for this look, was wearing the the rosy pearl one, but either would have looked good with this tutorial. So you can see this is the rosy pearl and this is more of the gold. So it's a subtle difference, and it might not really be picking up on camera exactly how it looks in person, but they are subtly different. It's not a dramatic variation in the two shades. So yeah, that's my take. I'm excited about these. If I get more of the products from this line, I will certainly let you guys know in a future haul or product review. And yeah, I recommend picking some up. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.